Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, July 26th. Hopefully everybody had a good week. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your decision-making process as a trader, or maybe you're just new, a beginner to charts, and are curious more about how they work and how they can be used to make good decisions to build consistency, then this will be a video for you. And real quick on that note, just keep in the back of your mind that as I go through the video and the content, if you're seeing value in technical analysis and the use of charts as a tool, then I want you to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live class that I'm offering this upcoming week. So you can get signed up if you're watching on YouTube. In the description box, there's a link, or if you're just watching at claytrader.com, there's several areas around the screen and on the page that you're on that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, just keep that in your mind. If you're liking what you see and if you can start to see the value in them and want to learn a whole lot more about them, then get signed up for the class. First stock here, ticker symbol AMC, and real quick as a quick distinction, what I'm looking at here is the 5-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 5 minutes worth of time. Usually each one of these represents 30 minutes if you've watched any of my past top 10 videos. But in this situation, I wanted to focus on the 5-minute time frame because I think it does a very good job of setting up the context of going into next week for AMC, which is very interesting. And it all starts off with the opening part of the day, which was brutal. I mean, the price actually moved all the way up there and then got hammered all the way back down to that area. However, that's where the but comes into place. So yeah, it got hammered all the way down there, but well, look what has happened ever since then. There has been a very, very impressive bounce to the upside, which can be best illustrated by putting that trend line into play right there. And I'll change that to green to represent more of a bullish attribute here. But overall, very, very impressive turnaround. Like I said, all things considered about how rough that morning session actually was. So now going into next week, it's really just a big question of, all right, does this bounce have more genuine power behind it? Is it truly strong? And it's a very, straightforward question to answer. Watch that trend line. As long as the price stays above that trend line, then the bounce is in full control. The bulls are in full control, meaning the price can get dramatic as it wants. The price come up here and then get hammered down here, then go all the way up there and then get hammered down there and then go all the way up. But as long as the price stays above that green line, what is that illustrating? Well, that's illustrating the fact that the price continues to put in higher lows, and that's what building uptrends is all about. So no doubt about it today, very, very impressive recovery. Not just a question of can this recovery continue into Monday. And like I said, the best and quickest way to gauge the health of the recovery, if you will, just watch that trend line, and as long as the price stays above it, that's what you want to see. Next one here, ticker symbol XBIO, and very, very disappointed in this one. Was thinking about pulling it off the list, but I thought, at this point, maybe something crazy will happen and you'll have some sort of snapback. But, when I was looking at this earlier on in the day and thinking, all right, well, I'm definitely going to talk about this very nice pattern here that had formed, but this afternoon has been savage, has been brutal, broke to the lower part of that pattern trend line, and then it's just continued to bleed and bleed and bleed. So really the main play going forward is based on, whoops, let me get that out of the way. Let's change that up here. It's based on the question of, all right, can we get maybe some sort of double bottom at this point in time if the price can come down to 215, which would make for basically a revisit of where it started today. So down there, double bottom, that's basically the play, but you also have to remember that there are no guarantees. So maybe there is going to be no double bottom. Maybe this thing just continues on down and then just crashes down through that area, which is why stop losses and risk management is so important. But yeah, what a turnaround, what a completely different looking chart here. And I totally understand and respect. You're like, no, Clay, I'm not touching that thing, not interested at all. I get it, because yes, this thing was looking so good, and now it's looking so bad. However, sometimes things, when they go from looking so good to so bad, they can all of a sudden just start looking so good once again, hence the volatility. So no doubt about it, this thing's got a whole lot of volatility. So yeah, can this thing get down to 215 and potentially produce a double bottom pattern? Let's see how it goes on Monday. Next one here, ticker symbol SNAP, Snapchat, and overall crushed earnings, massive volume. And this is one of those, situations where you don't want to get caught up in the hype. You don't want to get too overexcited. So good to see that this thing is starting to pull back here, because you don't want to, like I said, FOMO, fear of missing out, start buying the tops of things and chasing the price. And personally, it's pulled back, yes, but I would want to see this thing pull back a little bit more, because it was such a big move that, there's no guarantees, but to think that this thing probably wants to pull back some more, I think is a more than valid and rational thought to have. So in my mind, and this is, like I said, just my personal opinion, before I would even think about entering any sort of position, I'd want to see it at least down the $75 mark, because that would imply that, there's been a good, healthy consolidation and pullback here, where if the price can then start to consolidate around there, that's still giving it a good, solid, higher base, but it's also by no means anywhere, buying up at the highs like, people that were buying right there and right there experience. So to me, $75, very interesting level. But if you are more of a breakout player and don't really like playing pullbacks, then yeah, the breakout player that everybody and their brother, uncle is going to be watching is right there at the $79 mark. You can see it was rejected there once, rejected there a couple more times. So point here being, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. If the price can recover back up to that area and then get the break of it, that break in and of itself could very well create quite a bit of buying pressure, because people are buying just because, well, hey, I'm a breakout player. Hey, it's breaking out. It's time to buy. But keep an eye on these couple of technical levels. And early next week, I think they'll both definitely be coming into play. Next one here, ticker symbol EDU. And this won't mean as much as, so it's kind of disappointing, because the entire idea behind this one was, wow, massive, massive gap down today. I realize that goes without saying. However, after the gap down, the price has basically just gone sideways. Now, this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have traded for a while, but I'm sure to some of you that have, you've seen a gap down, and then after the gap down, the price just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. But that wasn't the case here. Again, it went sideways, which doesn't guarantee anything, but in terms of, well, is it at least rational? Is it at least logical to think that, hey, maybe some sort of bottom is forming? It absolutely is. But then the last 30 minutes happened, and it kind of stole my thunder, because look at this. Good, solid green candle on big volume. Now, yeah, there is still lots of work that needs to be done, but it's kind of piggybacking on the point of, hey, maybe this is confirmation that this is some sort of bottom. Now, I don't mean that this thing is about to reverse upwards and close the gap, but I mean, even if it gets a quarter of the way, halfway, that would still be a very nice trade that could potentially be on the table here. But the point here is that this thing, I think, yeah, has officially broken out through those highs. So the massive question now heading into next week is, all right, has this bounce started? It's gone sideways, it's broken through highs. So is this the start of something much bigger? Now, to be fair, maybe this isn't. Maybe it was just a 130-minute session and this thing's going to roll back over. That's always very possible too. But the key premise here is that massive gap down, and then it didn't really go down any further. It just went sideways, and then all of a sudden the final 30 minutes of the day, and given that it's Friday, the final 30 minutes of the week, all of a sudden showed some life. So is there more life to come? We'll see what happens with it, but it's a very interesting setup here now headed into next week. So we'll see if the price can indeed start to build upon this last 30 minutes or not. Next one here, ticker symbol NAOV, and very, very beautiful move here as it got a surge of volume late day, and the price reacted very nicely with it. So a lot of eyeballs certainly going to be keeping an eye on this one right now. And at this point, it's really all about, for the breakout players' point of view, that level right up there around 275. Now, I will say that in after hours right now, this thing is up over $3 right now. So maybe, just maybe, if this continues, now that's the tricky part, right? Because we have all of after hours today on Friday, and then on Monday you have all of pre-market. So where this thing's going to actually open, your guess is as good as mine. But if this thing does open up above the $2.75 mark, then just remember that would all of a sudden make this the initial level of support. Because remember, when resistances are broken, they tend to act as support. But again, if it does ultimately, open up down below 275, that would now be considered kind of what I'm putting up here right now as that main area of resistance. If there is any sort of pullbacks, the interesting pullback point definitely down there right around that $2 mark. But as of right now, yeah, depending on how crazy, the action continues to go, and then pre-market on Monday, we'll have to see where this goes. But point here being is a nice pattern has officially formed. Massive move up. Now, if it wants to do some consolidating, that would be fantastic. But from the pattern, point of view, that would give us a nice bull flag pattern. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, as of right now, as of the recording, it's well up above $3, but we'll see where it opens on Monday. Next one here, ticker symbol NRXP, and just a beautiful, beautiful example of charts and how they work. So drew this one up, in Thursday's video, gapped up, pulled back, classic example of the breakout point back test. So came down here, back tested the trendline break, and then from there, the rest is history. But like we just saw, as I talk right now, this thing is up here above the $28 mark and pushing 29 and maybe even 30. And so where is this thing going to open up again on Monday? Your guess is as good as mine, but right now, after hours, the craziness continues. But the key point here being very nice move, so it's definitely worth continuing to track here moving forward. I am going to get rid of these lines as they've served their purpose for now. And I do want to just map out where some next potential areas are. from a pullback point, next levels of support. And that main pullback point, in my opinion, at least going to be right down there around the $22 mark, which was that main breakout right there. But I mean, just to kind of illustrate the craziness of this move, I mean, look at this trend line. Look how steep that is, which is also kind of a warning sign because, I mean, can the price continue at this rate? I suppose it can, sure, but I would be very skeptical of buying. You don't want to chase the price and get caught up in some sort of nasty pullback or reversal because this trend line, like I said, really does illustrate how quick this thing is going up. But again, it depends on your strategy. If you're a momentum trader and you're in and out very quickly, well, then yeah, there's always exceptions. But just keep in mind that this thing has been going up and it's been going up very quick. And the best way, and I realize just saying that is one thing, but that's why I love charts. They allow you to take words and visualize them. So when I say going up very quick, just look at the angle of that line. Very, very steep. So we'll see what happens with it. And yeah, it just knocking on the door. I'll bring it back down. Knocking on the door of $30. Maybe I should go trade this one right now, but no, I'm not going to be doing pre-markets or after-hours trades on a Friday afternoon. But hey, I mean, some people are doing very well out there. But yeah, knocking on the door of 30. But again, we'll see where it opens on Monday. Next one here, ticker symbol DIDI. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy for continuing to put this on the top 10 list, but there is just so much drama out here with this one. And when there's that much drama, there can be very, very crazy movement. And you got to think that at some point, this thing is at least going to take a breath to the upside. Now, when I say take a breath to the upside, that does not mean that I'm saying this thing's going to reverse all the way back up to where it was. That's not what I'm saying at all. But even if the breath takes it up to there or takes it up to right around there, from a trade perspective, that could be a very profitable trade. And it seems like this thing can do no right. It seems like this thing just goes down every single day. It feels like this thing will never, ever go back up again. But what I've learned is usually when stocks reach that point where it feels like it can never, ever go back up again, many times, all of a sudden, they snap back up. Now, of course, I'm saying that halfway joking, but there is still some truth to it that when things feel like they just can't get any worse, well, then you know what? And when it feels like there's no hope at all, that's usually when some dead cat bounces can occur. So at this situation right now, it's still just all about watching the trend and mainly that downwards trend line right there. So let me adjust that around here a little bit. And again, for me, it's just a matter of, all right, it did start to go sideways. It did bounce, got rejected, but if it can bounce in, if it can get through that trend line, once more, I just really want to reiterate, not saying that it's going to go back up over $10 or $11. But even if it makes it to the highs right here at 9, or maybe it gets up to 9.50, from a percentage standpoint, I mean, given this is a sub $10 stock, there does seem to be some potential there. And then the line in the sand that was drawn today where the buyers really stepped in on several occasions right around 790. So yeah, maybe I'm just a fool for continuing to monitor this one and keep it on the watch list, but you got to think at some point this thing's going to take a breath back to the upside and make for a nice trade. Here we're taking a look at ticker symbol PHIL down in the world of penny stocks. And today, good solid movement, not only from the volume, kind of hard to see because I have it scrunched down so much, but there was well above average volume today. And then the price came up very, very impressively. And now it's putting the price at some very interesting areas as far as the overall chart is concerned. So let me get this trend line in place here, which, it's not quite there yet, but after today's big movement, it's certainly within striking distance. So that's going to be the main breakout point right there. If the price can work its way up to that trend line, which sits around, let's just call it 0.014. So if the price can break through 0.014, then you'd have a good, you'd have a nice technical pattern breakout right there. And then the other part of the pattern, which the price isn't currently at, is just the lower part of this pattern right there. And once again, I'm going to change that to green to represent more of a bullish attribute there. But point here being that from the overall standpoint, we have a nice little symmetrical triangle, wedge pattern, whatever you want to call it. But the key kind of premise within the overall pattern is just today. Big volume, price essentially went straight up. So does that guarantee anything? Again, of course not. There are no guarantees. Does that make it valid? Does that make it rational to be thinking and wondering, hey, you know what? Maybe there's some sort of breakout that's coming in regards to that trend line. It absolutely does. So keep an eye, assuming, of course, you're a penny stock player, keep an eye on 0.014, and let's see if this is the start of something much bigger to come next week. Next one here, ticker symbol PLTR, and doing this one just because I know it's still a pretty popular stock out there, so I'd like to do it every now and then just to keep people informed on at least what I'm seeing from the technical point of view. So overall today, though, good solid bounce. The price was all the way down here at that 2150 mark, but as you can see right there, did a very impressive job of bouncing up from there. But now that does make it an important area of support moving forward into next week. So 2150 is certainly going to be that ideal level of support, where if the price does not hold above it, then at that point, I don't think anybody would be shocked to see the price then go down and at least revisit right around 21.15. So 21.50, 21.15, two of those near-term levels of support. If the price does try to turn itself around and head back up, then public enemy number one going to be all about that purple line, 50-period moving average. You can actually see already once right there, behaved as resistance. Current value of that is, we'll just call it $22.10. So that'll be, like I said, the near-term area of resistance. But if there is a big move and it can push up through there, then the overarching level going to be all about that pink line up there, the very famous 200-period moving average, currently valid at, we'll just call it 22.60. So those are going to be the main technical areas moving forward. So, kind of like AMC, not a very good start to the day at all, but a nice little bounce. So we'll see if this can build upon that momentum next week. Next one here, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla, my favorite. And this will mean a little bit more to those that have watched the past videos, but if you have, we have a classic example of the power of charts. Are charts perfect? No, nothing is perfect. But for those of you that have watched past videos, hopefully you remember me putting that green line into place. And I mean, check it out. Look right where Tesla found support today. Literally right at that green line. So just a real life example there on the power of charts, which also brings up the first talking point. Right there at 638, that remains a very, very important level of support moving forward. So if the price does come back down to that area, you're going to have longs and shorts and everybody in between watching that level and wondering what's going to happen with that area. The shorts are going to be very curious on if it breaks, can that continue to go? But there's also going to be longs thinking, well, I mean, it's bounced before. Let's see if it bounces up again. So from the support side of things, no doubt about it, 638 is going to be that very important level to watch. Now, if the price all of a sudden decides to turn itself around, well, I suppose we have kind of a case of PLTR here, which we just talked about, because that initial area of resistance will be the 50-period moving average, purple line right there. We'll call it $650. But then if the price can push up through there, next key overarching level, that 200-period moving average, we'll call it 656, which you can see has quite the track record right now of being very, very annoying towards the price. Over the past couple of days, the price has been up around that area, and as you've seen, has not been able to build any sort of momentum after getting up around that area. But all in all, those are going to be the main levels that I'll be watching next week on Tesla. And that wraps up the top 10. Again, I just want to personally invite you, if you did enjoy what you heard, and if you're starting to see the practical power, the practical usefulness of using technical charts to develop trade plans, to build consistency, then like I said, personally invite you. The class is going to be next week, Thursday, July 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, always the important part. So get signed up for it if you do want to learn more about charts, or maybe you just want to improve with them, open up some new opportunities for yourself in trading strategies. And then as far as this top 10 video is concerned, real quick, if you enjoy this format, if you want me to keep making videos like this, then please communicate that to me by doing two easy things. Hit the like button, leave a basic comment, even if it's just thanks. Or just say hi, or just give me a thumbs up emoji. But those two things, hitting the like button, a basic comment, communicate to me that, these videos are worth my time. And just from strictly a time management point of view, as long as I know that they're worth my time, then I'll continue to do them. So communicate that to me, like I said, by hitting the like button and leaving a simple comment. And then, like I said, if you want to learn more about charts and how to use them to build consistency, get signed up for that class. Hopefully everybody had a great day. Hopefully everybody had a great week, and everybody enjoy your weekends.